Seniors, this food has more protein than eggs. Prevent muscle loss after 60, naturally. What if I told you there's a simple, often ignored food that's easy to find, budget-friendly, and actually packs more muscle-protecting, high-quality protein than an egg? And what if this one food could help slow down, or even push back, the muscle loss that quietly begins as early as our 30 seconds? That gradual muscle loss, known as sarcopenia, isn't just about how we look. It's a warning sign of deeper issues: a slower metabolism, more inflammation in the body, unstable blood sugar, and even faster mental decline. Yet many people don't realize how closely their strength, independence, and long-term health depend on holding on to lean muscle. You could be doing all the right things, exercising regularly, eating well, getting decent sleep, and still lose muscle year after year if you're not getting the right protein in the right form at the right time. That's where today's insight comes in. There's a simple food that delivers more leucine than eggs, helping activate a key muscle repair pathway called mTOR. And no, it's not a supplement or a trendy powder. It's real, everyday food. And here's my promise to you. By the end of this episode, you'll have a clear, science-backed plan to protect your strength, support your brain, and stay independent well into your 70 seconds and beyond using food timing and a few small daily habits. No gimmicks, no confusion, just one powerful change that can reshape how you age starting today. The power of protein timing and casein. If you ask most people to name a protein-rich food, eggs usually come to mind, and for good reason. Eggs are close to ideal. They're affordable, easy to prepare, and packed with nutrients your body can absorb well. One large egg provides about 6 grams of high-quality protein, along with all the essential amino acids. But here's the surprise. Cottage cheese delivers even more protein per serving and works better for protecting muscle overnight. Let's look at the numbers. A standard half-cup serving of low-fat cottage cheese contains around 14 grams of protein, more than what you'd get from 2 eggs. And most of that protein comes from casein, which digests slowly. That slow digestion makes a big difference. When you sleep, your body naturally goes into a fasting state. From dinner until breakfast, you may go 8 to 10 hours without eating. If your body doesn't have a steady supply of amino acids during that time, it can start breaking down muscle tissue to meet its needs, especially after age 30, when muscle loss begins to speed up. This is where casein really shines. Because it digests gradually, it releases amino acids into your bloodstream for up to 7 hours. That steady release feeds your muscles while you sleep, helping reduce overnight muscle breakdown and supporting repair and rebuilding. Think of it as slow, continuous fuel for your muscles while your body rests. Eggs, while still very nutritious and rich in things like choline and vitamin D, digest much faster. That makes them great in certain situations, such as after a workout, but not as effective for protecting muscle through the night. Science behind casein and muscle maintenance. A study published in Medicine and Science in Sports and Exercise in 2012 found that people who consumed 40 grams of casein protein before going to sleep had significantly higher muscle protein synthesis overnight compared to those who didn't. More recent research, including a 2019 paper in Nutrients, confirmed these findings, showing that protein eaten before bed helps improve muscle mass and strength gains, especially in older adults. This means the food we're talking about, cottage cheese, isn't just a late-night snack. It's a strategic timing tool. When eaten about 30 to 60 minutes before bed, it helps move your body out of muscle breakdown mode and into repair and recovery mode. Here's how to use it in a simple, practical way. Pre-sleep muscle protocol. Eat half to 1 cup of low-fat cottage cheese, providing about 14 to 28 grams of protein. If you like, you can add cinnamon, a small handful of walnuts, or a teaspoon of honey for flavor and extra nutrients. Have it 30 to 60 minutes before going to sleep, especially on days when you've been active or done resistance training. You might be wondering about lactose intolerance. That's a fair concern. Many cottage cheese brands now offer lactose-free options, and alternatives like casein protein isolate can provide similar benefits. What matters most is choosing a slow-digesting, leucine-rich protein that can support your muscles throughout the night. Leucine, mTOR, and muscle synthesis. Protecting muscle isn't only about how much protein you eat, it's also about timing and the type of protein you choose. Cottage cheese works so well, not because it's trendy or exotic, but because it fits naturally with how your body digests food and repairs muscle. Think of your body as having a switch that tells your muscles when to repair, rebuild, and stay strong. That switch is real. It's called mTOR, short for mechanistic target of rapamycin, and it's one of the main systems that controls muscle protein building in your body. The problem is that mTOR isn't always active. In fact, as we get older, it often stays quiet or only partly turned on. That's why simply eating more protein doesn't always stop muscle loss. To fully activate mTOR, your body needs a certain amount of one key amino acid, leucine. Leucine is a branched-chain amino acid, or BCAA. Its main job is to signal your muscle cells to start the rebuilding process. When you consume enough leucine, usually around 2.5 to 3 grams in a meal, you flip that mTOR switch and set muscle repair in motion. Without enough leucine, it's like having building materials on site but no one directing the work. Leucine content in cottage cheese. So how does this connect back to cottage cheese? Simply put, cottage cheese is naturally rich in leucine, especially when you compare it to many plant-based protein sources and even some types of meat. 1 cup of low-fat cottage cheese provides roughly 2.6 grams of leucine. That amount is enough to stimulate muscle protein synthesis in most adults, particularly as we age. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition in 2006 showed that meals higher in leucine increased muscle protein synthesis by up to 25% compared to meals lower in leucine, even when total protein intake was the same. Another clinical trial from 2011, published in Clinical Nutrition, found that adding leucine improved muscle mass and strength in older adults, even without changes in their exercise routines. Leucine threshold and distribution protocol. Here's a simple tool you can start using right away. Leucine threshold protocol. At each meal, aim for about 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine. That's roughly the amount found in 1 cup of cottage cheese, 5 ounces of chicken breast, or about 2.5 scoops of most whey protein powders. Spread your protein-rich meals evenly across the day, ideally over 3 to 4 meals. Muscle and brain connection. Maintaining muscle isn't only about physical strength. Research now shows a strong connection between muscle health and mental resilience through factors like better insulin sensitivity, increased brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF, and lower levels of chronic inflammation. In fact, low muscle mass has been linked to a higher risk of cognitive decline and depressive symptoms in older adults. So when you activate mTOR and support muscle growth, you're not just improving how your body moves, you're also supporting how your brain functions and how you feel day to day. One important thing to remember is that mTOR activity naturally declines with age. That's why older adults often need slightly more protein and more leucine at each meal just to get the same muscle-building response that younger people experience. It's not about eating like you did in your 20s. It's about eating in a way that matches your current biology. Circadian rhythm and protein timing. Muscle isn't built from protein alone. It's signaled into action by the right type of protein, and leucine is the signal that matters most. Many people assume muscle loss happens only because of aging or inactivity. But in reality, one major driver of sarcopenia, the gradual loss of muscle over time, is poorly timed protein intake. Your body's ability to build and maintain muscle is closely tied to its internal clock, known as your circadian rhythm. This system doesn't just control sleep and energy levels. It also affects how your cells respond to nutrients. Muscle protein synthesis isn't happening at the same rate all day long. There are specific windows when your muscles are more responsive, especially after resistance exercise, earlier in the day, and during sleep. If you miss those windows or don't consume enough of the right protein during them, your body can slip into a state where muscle breakdown outweighs repair. Studies on protein distribution. Most people eat the largest share of their daily protein at dinner, while breakfast often contains very little. A review published in the Journal of Nutrition in 2020 found that this uneven pattern leads to less total muscle protein synthesis over time compared to spreading protein more evenly across 3 to 4 meals each day. Research also shows that eating protein before bed, especially slow-digesting proteins like casein, can significantly improve overnight muscle repair. A 2015 study in Frontiers in Nutrition found that pre-sleep protein intake increased overnight muscle protein synthesis by 22% and led to greater strength gains in older adults over a 12-week training period. Practical protocol for protein timing. Here's a simple and practical approach you can follow. 3 times protein distribution protocol. Aim to eat 20 to 40 grams of protein at each main meal: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Add a pre-sleep protein option, such as 1 cup of cottage cheese or a 30-gram casein shake. Try to eat protein-rich meals within 2 hours after a workout and within 1 hour of waking up. If you train in the evening, that bedtime protein becomes even more valuable, lining up perfectly with the body's increased repair signals and natural recovery processes that happen during sleep. Another study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition reported that people who consumed 30 to 40 grams of casein before bed gained more lean mass than those who didn't, even when total daily protein intake was the same. Psychological and cognitive benefits. Eating balanced amounts of protein throughout the day helps stabilize blood sugar, supports dopamine production, and keeps your mind clearer for longer periods. This is the shift from eating randomly to eating with purpose. Instead of reacting to hunger, you begin aligning your meals with how your body and brain actually work. Muscle as medicine for the brain. Muscle truly acts as medicine for the brain. That's not just a saying, it's supported by neuroscience. Skeletal muscle does more than help you move. It's active tissue that releases signaling molecules called myokines, which travel through the bloodstream and communicate with other organs, including the brain. One of the most important of these myokines is irisin. It's released during physical activity and has been shown to increase brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF, a key substance that supports the growth of new brain cells and connections. BDNF plays a major role in learning, memory, and emotional balance. Studies on muscle and mental health. Research has shown that having lower muscle mass is strongly linked to higher levels of depressive symptoms in older adults, even when physical activity levels are taken into account. Protein digestion speed. Not all proteins work the same way. Beyond their amino acid profiles, they also differ in how quickly or slowly they digest. This matters more than most people realize, especially when it comes to preserving muscle during long periods without food, such as overnight sleep or busy days. Fast-digesting proteins like whey and eggs raise amino acid levels quickly in the bloodstream. That makes them ideal after a workout, when your muscles are ready for rapid repair. Slow-digesting proteins like casein, the main protein found in cottage cheese, release amino acids gradually over 6 to 8 hours. This steady release helps maintain a supportive environment for muscle repair, particularly during long gaps between meals. A study published in Neurology in 2022 found that people with greater muscle mass in midlife had a lower risk of developing dementia later on, even after adjusting for heart health and lifestyle factors. Muscle also plays a key role in improving insulin sensitivity, which helps prevent sharp rises and drops in blood sugar that can lead to brain fog, fatigue, and mood changes. In addition, healthy muscle helps reduce chronic, low-grade inflammation, often called inflammaging, which is a major contributor to age-related cognitive decline. Resistance training combined with enough protein, especially leucine-rich foods like cottage cheese, has been shown to lower inflammation markers such as CRP and IL-6. Study on casein versus whey digestion. A landmark study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition in 1997 compared casein and whey protein to see how they behave in the body. The results showed that whey protein caused a rapid spike in amino acid levels, but that spike didn't last very long. Casein, on the other hand, produced a slower, more sustained rise in amino acids, which significantly reduced protein breakdown over several hours. During sleep, your body typically goes 7 to 10 hours without food. If you don't supply slow-release amino acids before bed, your body may start pulling protein from muscle tissue for energy, especially if your overall protein or leucine intake is low. The same issue can happen during long workdays, intermittent fasting, or times of high stress, when cortisol levels rise and encourage muscle breakdown. In these situations, slow-digesting proteins act as a protective buffer, keeping amino acids available and helping preserve muscle. Practical digestive strategy. Here's a simple digestive strategy to support muscle maintenance. Use fast-digesting proteins like eggs or chicken after workouts or first thing in the morning when your muscles are primed to absorb nutrients quickly. Use slow-digesting options such as cottage cheese or Greek yogurt before bed or during longer fasting periods. For even better results, Pair slow digesting proteins with a small amount of healthy fat or fiber to further slow absorption and help you feel satisfied. If you finish dinner around 7 p.m. and don't eat again until 9 a.m., that's a 14-hour fast. Even with solid protein intake during the day, your muscles can be vulnerable overnight unless you've provided slow-release amino acids in the evening. That's why 1 cup of cottage cheese or a 30-gram casein shake before bed can be such a powerful, science-supported habit. Daily strength protocol. By the time we reach our 30 seconds, muscle loss often begins quietly, at a rate of about 3 to 8% per decade, and it tends to speed up after age 60. This process, known as sarcopenia, isn't just about appearance. It affects strength, balance, metabolic health, injury risk, and even brain function. The encouraging news is that this process can be slowed and even reversed not through extreme workouts or expensive supplements, but through a consistent daily routine built on how the body actually works. The daily strength protocol includes protein timing. Eat 3 to 4 protein-rich meals per day, aiming for 30 to 40 grams of protein at each meal. Choose complete proteins that are high in leucine, such as eggs, poultry, fish, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, or whey. Include a slow-digesting protein like 1 cup of cottage cheese or 30 grams of casein 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Leucine-triggered meals. Make sure each meal provides at least 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine. This can come from foods like 5 ounces of chicken breast, 1 cup of low-fat cottage cheese, or about 2.5 scoops of whey protein. Resistance training. Train 3 to 4 times per week using weights, resistance bands, or bodyweight exercises. Focus on compound movements and work close to fatigue while prioritizing consistency over intensity. Daily movement. Aim for 7,000 to 10,000 steps per day or at least 30 minutes of light activity. You can also add short bursts of intensity, such as stair climbing or walking uphill. Sleep optimization. Get 7 to 9 hours of sleep each night. Dim lights about an hour before bed. Keep a consistent sleep schedule and consider simple relaxation techniques if falling asleep is difficult. Avoid muscle saboteur. Limit ultra-processed foods and alcohol. Avoid long periods of inactivity. Don't rely on cardio alone if muscle is your goal. And manage chronic stress as best you can. Muscle as medicine for the brain. Muscle is not just about strength or appearance. It acts like an organ that protects your brain. When you maintain muscle through proper protein intake, your body releases substances that reduce brain inflammation and support memory and focus. This is why people who lose muscle quickly often notice brain fog, slower thinking, and forgetfulness. Keeping muscle is one of the simplest ways to protect your brain as you age. Why seniors feel better when protein is consistent. Many seniors notice they feel stronger, steadier, and more alert when they eat enough protein every day. This is not a coincidence. Consistent protein intake supports muscle repair, balances hormones, and prevents sudden drops in energy. Instead of feeling weak between meals, your body stays fueled and stable. Small daily choices, repeated over time, create big changes in how you feel and move. Why skipping protein makes weakness worse. When protein is missing from meals, the body has no choice but to break down muscle for energy. Over time, this leads to thinner legs, weaker grip strength, slower walking, and more frequent fatigue. Many seniors think this weakness is just aging, but often it's a silent protein shortage. Eating regularly without enough protein is like trying to fix a house without any building materials. How protein supports balance and prevents falls. Protein does more than build muscle. It also helps maintain balance by supporting the nerves and stabilizing the muscles around your hips, knees, and ankles. When these muscles stay strong, your body reacts faster if you trip or lose balance. That split-second response can be the difference between catching yourself and falling. This is why steady protein intake is closely linked to fewer falls in older adults. Protein timing matters more than quantity. Many seniors eat most of their protein at dinner and very little earlier in the day. But spreading protein evenly across meals helps muscles repair throughout the day instead of struggling all at once. A little protein at breakfast and lunch can improve strength, focus, and stamina by afternoon. It's not about eating more. It's about eating smarter. Signs your body is asking for more protein. Slow recovery, shaky legs, frequent tiredness, and feeling weak after simple tasks are not normal signs of aging. They are often quiet signals that your body is not getting enough protein to maintain muscle and nerve health. The sooner these signs are addressed, the easier it is to regain strength. Your body speaks softly before problems become serious. Protein helps protect independence. Strong muscles make everyday life easier. Standing up, climbing stairs, carrying groceries, and walking confidently all depend on muscle strength. Protein helps protect your independence by preserving the muscle that supports these daily movements. When muscles stay strong, confidence follows naturally. Staying independent often starts with what's on your plate. Simple protein choices make the biggest difference. You don't need complicated meals or expensive supplements. Simple, familiar protein sources eaten consistently can maintain strength, balance, and energy. What matters most is regular intake, not perfection. Small changes done daily often bring the biggest improvements. Muscle loss, weakness, and poor balance are not unavoidable parts of getting older. In many cases, they are signs that the body is missing steady protein support. When protein intake becomes consistent, many seniors feel stronger, steadier, and more confident again. Your body is always ready to respond when you give it what it needs.